We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day. We are News Generation.
Bring news just for you. It's Friday, September 20th here in Seoul. I'm Song Yujin and you're watching News Generation. Today we're joined by Park Ki-un.
Happy Friday!
Happy Friday! And Im Sang-yeon.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Now both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. Now as usual, we're going to start with our news feed, which covers different hashtags and news items trending online. English football player Jesse Lingard, currently playing for K-League club FC Seoul, has been fined for riding an electric scooter in Seoul without a license or helmet. According to the Korean National Police Agency on Thursday, the 31-year-old midfielder was fined 190,000 Korean won, or approximately $143 after an investigation on Wednesday. Lingard apologized earlier this week through an Instagram post, stating he was unaware of South Korea's regulations regarding electric scooters. Moving on, Paris Olympic silver medalist sharpshooter Kim Ye-ji is set to star in the short-form series Crush. The series is a spin-off of Korean director Lee Jung-seop's film Asia, which addresses issues of racial discrimination and hatred and features actors from the US and over seven Asian countries. Kim will play the role of an assassin alongside renowned Indian actress Anushka Sen. The release dates for both the film and the series have yet to be announced. The Korean Professional Baseball League KBO has hit a new milestone in ticket sales this season. As of Wednesday, with 95% of the 720 games completed, ticket sales across the 10 teams have exceeded 150 billion Korean won, or approximately $112 million. Now, this is the first time the KBO has surpassed the 150 billion mark since its official launch in 1982. The league also set a new attendance record this season with over 10 million spectators attending games. So here in the studio, I want to ask our panelists, do you enjoy watching baseball, and what do you think is behind this growing popularity of baseball in Korea?
So I'm not a big fan of Korean Baseball League, but I've been to watching the match in the actual stadium several times. And when I was there, I could understand why there were so many fans of the baseball. So if we think about the price, the satisfaction that you can get is quite immense. The average price of baseball tickets range from 12,000 won to 25,000 won. That is about 10 to 15 US dollars. And you can enjoy the games and also eat chickens and let your stress go away by shouting the fan chants. For your information, the movie ticket price nowadays is about 16,000 won. That is about $12. So many couples have been going to the baseball games rather than watching movies these days. And during the game, you not only watch the baseball, but there are also other activities that come with it. For example, we have the kiss time, the uniform donation events by the players, and also photo time with cheerleaders as well. So various attractions at a reasonable price is, I think, the biggest factor that attracts more and more people to the stadium.
Right, and especially the younger generation, because our generation is known for valuing cost efficiency. Now, what about you, Kim? Do you like watching baseball?
Oh, absolutely, I do. I actually live in Jamsil, where there is the Jamsil Sports Stadium, and like usually on weekends, like it gets crowded, even on weekdays as well. And you see so many people wearing the same uniform. They're all like united, and like I've been to a few games myself, and the cheering is like immense. It's just over the top.
It's kind of like become a culture, right?
It has, and like it's really actually fun to be part of the group and cheering group. A lot of foreigners even come to Korea and to watch these baseball games because of what Sang-yeok just mentioned. Affordability is key, obviously, to watching these games, but also like the passion these fans show. They're very loyal to their teams, and they have their own like kind of routine and chants, and of course the cheerleaders and their and their dance. Why am I the only one doing this? I thought everyone knew the Picky Pikachu. I just saw it a few minutes ago. Anyway, not just that, but of course like the return of big stars like Ryunji. He's come back to the Korean baseball, and of course vice versa. Like you see a lot of Koreans going to Major League Baseball, and like just I think it's today. Ohtani Shohei, he's a Japanese baseball player. He is the first ever Major League Baseball player to record 50-50, so 50 runs and 50 bases stolen. So it's a new record, world record, and obviously he's Asian as well. And I'm sure another Korean will do the same in the future. And I think baseball, not just baseball, but like soccer and like just people actually going to stadiums to watch games has become a big popularity these days.
Right. So if you're planning to visit Korea sometime soon, why not try and go see the baseball game? But hurry up because KBO's regular season will conclude next Saturday, September 28th, with the match between the SSG Landers and the Hanwha Eagles. And that was our news feed for this Friday. So we're now going to move on to our main discussion for today. We're talking about young people having a new attitude toward work in our episode on NewsGen. Take a look at the screen to find out more.
For those of you with a job, have you ever stopped to think about your ultimate goal? In the past, the focus was often on working as hard as possible, excelling among your peers, and climbing the career ladder quickly. But today, many, in the younger generation, are striving for something quite different.
Right, so we're bringing up this topic today because many companies in Korea are starting their recruitment for the second half of the year. So let's first begin by discussing the typical attitude young people, especially here in the country, have towards work or careers, because we're often seen as a generation that frequently switches jobs, right?
Yeah, you're right. But a few years ago, many MZers were stigmatized for their lack of loyalty to their companies because they had the sentiment of, changing jobs without too much hesitation. This was backed by reports from Statistics Korea that showed 31.8% of MZers quitting their jobs within 1 year of working. It showed that many youngsters valued experience and diversity in their careers over stability and commitment to one single company, unlike our past generations who would just stay at one company until they retired. We can say that the pandemic and of course the growing popularity of social media platforms changed the dynamics of young people's choice of work careers. Many found jobs, working from home, becoming digital nomads, content creators and influencers. However, things have changed a little recently. Let's take a look at the screen to see the changes. According to a recruitment platform called Catch, out of 1,713 millennial and Gen Z job seekers, 53% of them answered they would work for the same company for a long, long time. So hence, we can see there is a slight change in young people's attitude towards work as they're willing to just stay in one company for a long time.
Right, and a little more than half of the respondents answer that they'll stay at one job. Right, so I want to ask our panelists once again, what do you think of the data that Ki-yoon just presented? Starting with you, Ki-yoon, why do you think more young people are staying at one job?
I mean, it's only 53%, so slightly more than half. But obviously, there is a bit of an uptick to why a lot of MZers want to stay in just one company. There could be a few reasons. One, quitting and then seeking a new job is not as easy as it sounds.
Right.
It requires a lot of searching and looking for the right job.
And the process, recruitment
exactly.
process.
You have to, write cover letters and just to be asked for the first interview. And second, once you do get hired, you need time to learn new skills, get adjusted to the new environment. Of course, to the new work colleagues you have to work with. And I think getting along with a lot of new work colleagues is really hard, and it's really important for you to stay at one company for a long time, because I think sometimes getting along with people can be a bit more strenuous and stressful than the actual workload itself. Yeah.
Right. Maybe that's why we're working at Arirang for a long time, right?
I think so.
That was a good one.
Okay, so what do you think could be some of the other reasons, Sang-yeon?
Well, I think it depends. The older generation tend to stay in one job for quite a long time, even though the salary might be lower than what they expected. But it's a different story for the MZers. They tend to value the incentives and the income that they can get in return. And if it does not meet their expectation, the MZers tend to switch jobs really quickly. And I don't blame them, because the older generation tend to value the value of the affiliated group before individuals' happiness, whereas it's vice versa for the younger generations. But if MZers find their own dream job, then they tend to stay there for a long time, because I think this has to do with the socioeconomic uncertainties that we face nowadays. So
right.
as you all know, we face issues like the rising market price, as well as it's getting tougher to get a house these days. So I work as a freelancer for now. And so my job type is quite far from what we often say stable income job. But as long as I can make my ends meet, and I am doing that right now, so I don't have any plans to switch my jobs.
Right, so this could be some of the reasons why our generation is showing a tendency to stay at one job for a long time. Now, you guys both mentioned that in our parents' generation, staying at one workplace was common, but the difference now is that younger people aren't necessarily seeking promotions, which was once the ultimate goal for many who worked in an office place. So what do you think is behind this change in mindset?
You know, firstly, I found this mindset to be quite funny
Right.
when I first heard it, but I did kind of understand later on. I did understand later on. But there has been a growing number of young workers who prefer not to get promoted and stay as an assistant or a junior. Again, let's take a look at the screen. According to another recruitment platform called Job Korea, 45.2% responded no, while 54.8% said yes to promotion to becoming a board member. And I think the main reason behind not moving up the social hierarchy is the dissatisfaction at the level of income, lack of pay raise, and also these days more and more youngsters are seeking the work-life balance.
Right.
We call it warabel in Korean. So it's not so much about how much money they're actually earning and the number of hours they're working in the office. It's more about the life outside work and like what they enjoy doing, like their
Right.
hobbies, you know, just meeting friends. Because back in the our parents' generation, it was all about, you know, being the breadwinner, you know, paying back the mortgage loan, buying a house and things like that, buying cars. But I think a lot of youngsters these days, we don't really value buying a house because it's become very impossible.
Right, it's
especially
becoming
here in Seoul.
harder.
Yeah, so they've just given up on those things and just value other things like maybe going on a trip or just buying things that they've always wanted to buy.
Or investing in a hobby.
Exactly, so things have definitely changed.
Right. Now, do you also believe that this change in mindset is also due to the younger generation valuing something else more than climbing up the corporate ladder?
Yeah, so like I've mentioned earlier, the younger generation tend to value their individual's happiness rather than getting promoted in a company. And they also value efficiency, meaning getting that peanut-sized salary won't satisfy them easily. In fact, MZers turn their attention outside of the company and make investments. And it's because investing in stocks or mortgages consume less energy than faithfully going to one company for the rest of one's life. So if you look at the recent investment market trends, MZers take up the majority, and the younger generation wants to aim for secondary income that is irrelevant from their original job. And it has been said that 3 out of 10 investors in real estate auctions are in their 20s and 30s.
Right. So until now, we've talked about the changing attitude toward work among young people here in Korea. Now, to find out whether this is prevalent in other parts of the world, we also asked our viewers if they are currently working, whether they plan to stay at their workplace long term, and if they would want a promotion. And here's what 3 of them said. The first comment, Giselle624 says, I worked at my current workplace for 7 years. I've sought out promotions and have been promoted multiple times. The salary increases, long-term employee benefits, and my rapport with my boss are enough for me to see myself staying at my workplace even longer. Ramsey Brions 861 says, rather than generally aiming to stay for the long term, I'm looking to stay as long as the work environment is sustainable. Sustainable in the sense that it is rewarding both financially and career-wise, and also having a sense of work-life balance that gives joy to my life. Leontail93 says, while some individuals may still desire long-term careers with a single company, many others prioritize flexibility, work-life balance, and opportunities for personal and professional growth. Millennials and Gen Z may be willing to change jobs to achieving their career goals. So based on our comments, we can see that among our generation, if what they value in a job fits with their current workplace, they're showing a tendency to stay at one workplace for quite a long amount of time. Now, to explore more on this new perspective on work, we're now going to invite an expert to our talks right after this break. Right, so today we're joined by Hwang Myung-jin, a professor of public sociology at Korea University in Seoul. Good morning, Professor.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. So our first question for you, Professor, is how does this mindset of prioritizing long-term stability at one workplace but being reluctant to seek promotions among the younger generation differ from previous generations?
Well, we call it MZ generation, but that's quite Korean terminology. The millennial and the generation Z are two separate generations. That's what I want to say first. But regardless of the title and name of this new generation, they tend to focus more on job stability and kind of the long-term commitment for one place and organization. And they try to have a good work-life balance rather than chasing the promotion. Older generation like me, the boomers, X and Y generation, Y generation is a millennial, but it's the promotion is the primary key for the success. So they're trying to move the organizational career ladder as a key success. But to get there, they got more commitment and take the broader responsibility for their peers and their organization. But Generation Z and the younger generation is more interested in stability and having their own life and personal time.
Professor Hwang, how do you think this shift in mindset among young workers could impact and reshape Korea's office culture?
Well, this shift is inevitable for the new generation because they are what we call the digital natives. They're born in the world that the digitalization is already fixed. So they have different lifestyle. And one of the things I recognize from my own son is junior high. He is always stay home and left alone, but he's never been alone because he got the device and SNS. So they really try not to get ruled by other people, whether it's their employer and their boss. And they try to make it everything flexible and their own time. That might shift the whole organizational culture. And hopefully, this is my hope, that whole national culture might have shifted and more individualistic, liberalize the atmosphere and giving more chance to individual persons pursuing their own personal life goal.
Okay, Professor, then on the flip side of the coin, what potential challenges or downsides might arise from this attitude by the younger generation, and how do you think companies should adapt to this new trend in the workplace?
Well, if nobody's want to lead the organization, who's going to lead? The leadership might be the problem. That really causes some the issues like productivity and teamwork, organization culture. If I say that, I'm more like a kunde, the bigger of the older generation. The good sides, I always love to see, how the national culture might have changed into more individualistic and more liberal term. I like this term. I'm going to quote it. Philip Pettit is famous for his book and Republican. He always said the leadership without rule. The leadership should not involve ruling over others, but rather guiding and enabling them or empowering them in a manner that is capable with non-domination. So we can work together, whether it's I'm older, and working with the younger people, we really appreciate each's values and ideas, and that's how it goes to more harmonious society. That I hope that can change the whole the countries. We are having some problem of higher suicidal rates, low fertility, and the aging population. All these things are because we haven't changed our national culture and giving more chance for younger people their individual choice in life.
Right.
I'm a little nervous because I'm not really used to this TV show, but I tend to enjoy that.
Well, Professor Hwang, you did an amazing job. Some very valuable insights from you. Thank you so much for your time today.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you. Right. So at the end of the day, it's a win-win when employers hire people who can bring out the best in their company and when employees find workplaces that align with their values and work ethics. So ending off, how can companies create an environment where employees want to stay long-term and do their best work?
Working less for more money. That sounds like the ideal working condition for employees, but not so much employers. But I totally agree with what Professor Huang said. I think leadership without rule is really important. And I think creating like a work environment where people feel really accepted and people are working in a flexible, bottom-up approach kind of work environment where the people value their performance and workers are compensated for how much work they put in and of course the output as well. And I know equal treatment is very important in every kind of firm, but I think showing that difference, like if you work harder, we're going to pay you more. Giving that incentive
and recognition
and recognition could be like an extra driving force for more workers to actually, put in like genuine effort and to motivate them to actually work harder and become leaders. And in turn, they could, foster a better working environment for future employees moving forward.
Well, I hope a lot of employers and companies are hearing Kyun's advice right now.
Listen to President Park.
What kind of advice do you have, Sang-yeon?
Yeah, so I think it will be a big financial loss for a company if the employees frequently make turnovers.
Right.
So it's a bit cliche, but I think more and more employers should listen more to the younger generation employees. The employer should have more in-depth discussion with the workers to figure out what they truly want. And if the company provide a decent amount of a reasonable amount of like incentives in return for the younger generation's work, and then I think that would be one way to curb this frequent turnover.
Definitely. All right. Hope our discussion today helped you know more about young people's changing attitude here in Korea towards work. And that's all from NewsGen today, but we'll be back next Monday at 9:30 a.m. Korea time. Special thanks today to Park Kyun
Always a pleasure.
and Im Sang-yeon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for watching and hope you have a lovely weekend. We are News Generation.